If you had to pick the better numbers, Microsoft or Google, who would it be?
Easy answer, Brian. It's Google. That 41% growth that you enumerated, that is the best in 14 years. Google is the oxygen of the internet. And part of it is, the upside between Microsoft and Google for the September quarter was equal. Each of them beat revenue expectations by 3%. The growth of Google, 41 compared to Microsoft's overall growth of 22%. Obviously, the valuation is fractionally higher for Google, but the reason why I think that is one that stands above here is that this trend around Google, I guess you could argue of all big tech, but in particular around Google, is that it's as good as it gets, the 41% growth, best in 14 years. But if I think about those two companies, Google versus Microsoft, I think our dependence on Google ultimately is greater. And then outside of that, I think Google's other bets, even though they haven't yielded any upside, I think relative to shares, I do think that they have significant potential. That compares to Microsoft, which their other bet, if you will, they have some augmented reality initiatives going around with their HoloLens. But for the most part, Google is, I think, better positioned for that big lever longer term. So my vote is with Google.
Well, and as you have said, Google is the oxygen of the internet. I mean, they've got their own operating system. They dominate pretty much, I won't say monopoly because I think it's a dirty word, but they have a large stake, shall we say, in the digital online ad market as well. But let's not knock Microsoft either, though, Gene, right? I mean, when I just said 50% jump for some of their numbers, Azure is growing. They are a clear beneficiary of the remote work trend.
Definitely. The 22% growth is impressive. It's about double where it was before all this started. And ultimately, I think this work and learn remotely that has benefited a lot of companies, including Microsoft, I think that the significance of this is really hard to enumerate. I think that the impact is going to go on for multiple years. It is such a shock to the system. We've talked so much about it. But I think that our behaviors are forever changed. And I think that has a tailwind for companies like Microsoft, Google, Apple, all of those will have a benefit, I think, beyond what is priced into shares. And maybe to put it in a different way, as we think about these results and think about fast forwarding through the December quarter, I suspect that the commentary is going to be very similar about this continued dependency on these companies along with impressive results.